Hello, good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for coming today. We're going to get started. I want to thank you all for making the time out of your busy days to come to today's webinar. Today's topic is It's All in Your Approach, Making Positive Connections with People Who Are Living with Dementia. And before we get formally started, I wanted to, just one second, here we go, to do a little bit of housekeeping. I wanted to introduce Kay, who's here on camera. She is helping us run this webinar. We both work at Hale. And so first thing is that everyone is muted and in listen only mode, but we really want to hear your questions. So here in this Zoom webinar, there is a Q&A button that's separate from chat. So you can type your questions, anything about content or related to dementia in the Q&A feature. You can also ask anonymously if you want to. There's a button there, checkbox to click on that. If you have any technical issues, and that's where Kay comes in, during the course of the webinar, you can put it in the chat. So please use the chat for any technical issues during the webinar. Unfortunately, we are having a bit of a problem with the closed captioning today. I'm sorry, we're not going to be able to live closed caption. For some reason, that feature is not working here on the webinar today. We are recording it though, so the recording of this will be up on the Hale website within a week of this event. And after this webinar, I will be sending an email to everyone with a link to where to find it and also with the slides and handouts. If you look at your chat, you can see that ahead of when you came in, today's PDFs of today's slides and also a positive physical approach cheat sheet that we'll refer to today are both in there. I will be emailing those too. So if you don't want to download it right now, it's okay. There are no continuing education credits for today's webinar or certificates provided. And at the very end, when you leave the webinar, there will be a SurveyMonkey survey. We always want to make improvements, and we really appreciate any feedback you can give us about today's webinar. So we are going to go ahead and get started on the content. And so I wanted to introduce myself a little bit for those of you who we haven't met before. My name is Dorothy Colby. I'm the Director of Community Engagement at Hale. Hale has 3 memory care homes here on Oahu. And so I've been with Hale since they opened in 2005. But I also have a very close connection, personal connection with people who are living with dementia. In my family, my grandmother had Alzheimer's disease, and she's the one who helped raise me. So we saw her through the end of her life living with Alzheimer's. And my father had vascular dementia, stroke-related dementia, and then my father-in-law had Parkinson's-related dementia. So it's 3 very different individuals living with dementia. I wanted to, let's see. I just noticed that that first slide had the wrong title, but I wanted to let you know that the training program that we use at Hale and that this philosophy is built into this training is the Positive Approach to Care. Hale is a Positive Approach to Care designated organization, and we really want to understand what is happening for our loved ones, our residents, people in our lives, what is happening, the changes that are happening in their brain, and really try and see the world through their eyes. What is different for them that we are not able to perceive through our view, not living with that kind of brain change. And so we want to acknowledge that people who are living with dementia really are doing the best they can. And if we can understand how they see the world and what's happening, then we can adjust our approach and we can adjust the environment. And so that's what we're going to be doing today, talking specifically about the approach. So today we're going to, Kay is going to take down the poll there. Great, thank you, Kay. This is what we're going to be exploring today. We're going to explore the 5 sensory input systems, and we're going to start with, and I think I do this in every webinar, we're looking at us as human beings, how we take data in the world. People living with dementia are not different than us. They have changes happening to the brain because of different diseases and disease processes, or possibly physical injury, things like that. So what is changing how does your sensory input work, and what's changing because of the dementia? And looking specifically very closely at the role of vision, because that's not one that we think about too much. Actually, we take a lot of vision vision things for granted. So we'll look at how that changes sensory awareness and processing. And then what is this thing called the positive physical approach? We'll go break it down step by step and see why and how it can make a difference in getting connected. And also hand under hand techniques and how to connect that. So putting it all together, changing our approach, figuring out how to get connected, we can really make a difference in their lives and ours as well. So that's what we're going to be doing today. We want to start with recognizing that the relationship, and I'm putting my hands together like this, maybe like this, it would be a little bit better, is the most critical thing that determines the outcome of an encounter. When we have fist bumping, like when this is the relationship, it's hard to make progress. Two hard heads butting together. I know that many of us have had that happen. We want to acknowledge that we are the key to making it life worth living, and people living with dementia are doing the best that they can, and we must be willing to look to ourselves because we are the ones with the healthy brains and that are flexible. People living with dementia didn't have a choice about this, and the changes in their brains make it extremely hard for them to have that flexibility. So let's take a moment and think, and you can use your hands. You'll see me use my hands a lot, and you can use them there with you too, because they do help us remember 5 senses, how we as humans take in data from the world around us, put it in your head, process it around like this. Number 1, what we see. See, number 1, so thumbs up, number 1. And if I look around like I'm an artist, human beings are hardwired to want to see what's coming. It's a safety thing. So if you hear something off to the side, what's the first thing you're going to do? You're going to turn and look, right? Because you've got to know what that is. What was that? How about, so that's number 2, is hearing. If you feel something touching you, that's number 3, the touch. What's the first thing you do? Like I think about if I'm in the ocean and something touches my leg, aside from like jumping, you got to look, right? What is it? Make sure it's nothing. Is it just seaweed, or is it something you might not want to be touching? So we want to see what's coming, and when we don't see what's coming, that's when we start to get anxious. If we can't know what that sound was or what that touch was, that's when that's something that can really, really trigger a fear response. So number 1, put your thumb up, even if you're by yourself. Number 1, what you see. That's really important. Number 2, I'm going to point to my ears or my noise canceling headphones here. What you hear. What you hear. So you're all listening to me babble on for an hour now. You're really relying on hearing, even though you're kind of seeing me somewhat too. But a lot of it is about me talking today. So we're really good at that, taking in this auditory information and processing it. I'm going to make a little timeout symbol. As dementia progresses, I can still hear what you're saying, but I'm not processing the content. I'm not understanding what you're saying the way you think I might be. So we have this mismatch. You're talking, I'm hearing, you think I'm understanding. We start to have problems. Number 3, touch. Like you touch the back of your hand like this. If you touch the back of your hand like this, nice and smooth and soft, feels good, right? If we are hardwired, if something feels good, we just keep doing it. If it doesn't feel good, like if you were using your nails or tapping, we draw away. That we respond to touch. So that's a very powerful input as well. Big part of your brain, touching the top of my head here, the sensory motor area. Big part of your real estate in your brain is devoted to that. Number 4, what you smell and what you taste. So all those ways we take in information about the world. We're going to focus on the first 3. So just a quick review: what you see, thumbs up, what you hear, and what you feel and touch. Those 3. We're going to work in these 3 things together. So the most powerful sensory input, what they hear, what they see, sorry. But let's take a look at the brain. So this photo of the human brain, we're very fortunate to have people who generously donated their brains after death so that we can really see the changes. The one on the left is a healthy individual with no disease process, no Alzheimer's disease. The one on the right is someone who died from Alzheimer's disease, same age, same gender individual. And you can see the physical changes. What do you notice? Shrinking, It's a different size, more gaps between. It's not a fat, juicy brain. So there's physical changes that happen. The brain is shrinking and dying. The connections, also the wiring is going on the fritz. We think of that, about that a lot when you hear about plaques and tangles and things like that. But there's actual physical change, and there's chemical change as well. But if you touch the back of your head, go ahead and touch the back of your head, the vision center, the back of the brain that processes what you see. So your eyes are doing the taking in the light and the images, but it's your brain that's processing them, right? You need both things. So what's happening when as dementia progresses and we lose some of it even through normal aging, if you think about your peripheral vision as being, I'm waving my arms around, it's a little, I'm going to back up a little bit. Here we go. Here's my peripheral vision. If I'm a young person looking forward and wiggled my fingers with a full 180, I would be able to detect motion. I am not in my 20s. I'm in my later 50s. So I have to bring my hands in a tiny bit. And when I wiggle my fingers now, I can detect motion. So you can try this yourself while you're sitting there. If you're looking straight ahead, you can be sitting in a chair at your office. How close in do you have to have your fingers to be able to detect motion? You might not be able to see the fingers themselves, but you kind of know. This is our safety vision, right? This is how we detect. Of course, you have to turn and look when you're driving, but you detect things coming up from behind. Our vision is not just what's in front. We have this nice safety vision. So as we age, as we get older, I'm going to back up a little bit more. We start to lose by about 75. We're coming in about 15% or so. We start to lose a little of our peripheral vision, and that is normal. This is not dementia. So as we get older, a few more scrapes on the sides of the cars, maybe tripping on that last step. I didn't see that. Why didn't I see that? Well, it's 360. So your peripheral vision is all the way around, not just the sides, it's top and bottom too. So you start to lose that. We learn to compensate for it. So as you get older, you really have to turn and look. You might have to watch your step a little bit more because that's a natural progression. And that's something they test you every time. Anytime you have to really renew your driver's license, they really recognize peripheral vision is super important. If you don't have any, it's a hazard to be driving. But when dementia comes into the picture, it's on top of the normal peripheral vision changes, you start to lose your peripheral awareness coming in closer. And the best way to simulate this is if I hold my hands about 45 degrees and make a circle like this, an early dementia, and then if I come in to about shoulder width and make a circle, that's later dementia. And I'm going to flip the slides here so you can kind of see. And we're going to try this together. So if I do this, like the first picture, put that here and looking forward, normal aging peripheral awareness changes. So I can see pretty much everything, but I'm missing a little off the edges there. Now, if you put your snorkeling mask on like this, early changes. So it's a little more tunnel vision. So if you wanted to look to the side, what do you have to do? You have to turn your full head. You can't just glance anymore, right? And think about someone walking up beside you or behind you. How close would they have to be before you see them? And how easy would it be to be startled that way? And then mid to later stage, if you make these binoculars like this, more and more tunnel vision. And then the last picture, the late stage, monocular vision. So I start to have lose my depth perception this way. This is not that my eyes are going blind or this is something that the eye doctor can check or fix. It's brain change. This occipital lobe in the back that's shrinking and dying of cells, it's changing how much I'm able to process. So it's a kind of a odd thing to think about because we think of vision as just with the eyes, and there's some kind of corrective glasses I could get for this. It's how my brain is able to process. So my field of active vision starts to shrink. So if you think about a couple of things that can give you clues that you can, once you're aware of this, you can see in people who are living with dementia and how, as they're progressing. One is how they look around. Is it whole body like this, like you do when you have your binoculars on? If you put your binoculars on and someone says, oh, you have something on your shirt, you spilled something on your shirt, can you see it? Yeah, no, I'm fine. I didn't spill anything on my shirt. I've lost that lower peripheral vision. Or, how could you trip over your walker? It was right in front of you. But I didn't see it. How could you have not seen it? It's right in front of you. Well, I've lost that peripheral vision. I can't see it. I'll trip over something that's really, really obvious right in front of me because I don't have that awareness now, that peripheral awareness that I'm losing. So you start to notice things like that. They're not able to see things in plain sight. The way they move their heads and look around to be able to see things, it starts to change. They're often walking, looking straight down. If you try and walk with this kind of vision, kind of scary, right? It's like, oh, I have to look. I have to see where I'm going. So it's a kind of a safety thing. So what you were looking at this slide today together, and so we're all stuck in front of a computer, but today's webinar is really kind of a physical webinar. So these are things, when you take the slides, you'll be taking that cheat sheet in the end to give it a try. And the goal is to look at the world through the eyes of someone who's living with these vision changes because of dementia. And once you can see through those eyes, then you can say, oh, I need to move the plate here, or I need to make sure I'm standing here before they can see me. Because how many of you have surprised the bejeebers out of somebody who's living with dementia by coming up like, oh, waiters come by and like slide the menu in and your loved one jumps. It's like, wow, how could they get so startled? Changing peripheral awareness is often the cause. So that's the vision. The vision is number one. We want to see it, but boy, we're having trouble seeing things that are on the edges. Number two, auditory, language. So as caregivers, what are we really super good at? Both professional and family home caregivers, we're really good at talking. I can tell you exactly why you need to take this medication. I can tell you how badly you smell, and so you need the shower. We can talk all day. But like I was saying, I'm starting to have trouble. I hear you, and talking louder doesn't change how well I can understand you. So it's not that I'm hard of hearing, I'm hard of comprehension. So your language center of the brain, there it is, that language center right there. You have a right and left lobe. So language on the left, if you touch the left-hand side of your brain, language on the left, rhythm on the right. So language on the left, rhythm on the right, lose on the left, retain on the right. So on the left, this is vocabulary, comprehension, and speech production. You need all three of these pieces of the puzzle in order to communicate effectively. So I start to lose my vocabulary. I'm having trouble finding the right words. I might even, in my speech production, use the wrong words. I'm looking for the bubble. Where's the bubble? Well, I'm looking for, it's hard to see because it's green. It's a bottle. I'm looking for my water bottle, but I'm using the wrong word. And you're telling me something, and I'm nodding, like, and it seems like I'm understanding. Like, so you're ready for your shower now? And you nod, and I nod, and then we get in there, and all hell breaks loose. But you said you were okay with this. Well, I was nodding because you're nodding, right? Right. Sometimes we don't realize how much visual cueing we're giving. Like have you seen this before? A doctor might have say, so are you experiencing any pain? No, none. Yep. You feeling good? Yeah, yep. You're not giving your daughter a hard time, are you? No. So am I telegraphing what answer I want you to give? Yes, I am. And so, I am living with dementia, but I'm not stupid. I know how to. I know what answer is expected. And how many of us have not understood what was going on, like kind of clued in a little bit late, and you just sit and nod and go along with it till you can kind of figure it out. So a lot of times we think we're communicating this audio input, but we're missing the boat on each other. We don't even realize it. On the right, I almost had the rhythm. So this side of the brain has less loss, and many things are retained through the very end. So social chit chat. Hey, how are you? I'm fine. You look great today. Well, thank you. No, you look handsome too. Oh, what I can do that kind of social chit chat until very late in the disease process, because I don't need to think for that. That's not higher language. I don't need new words. We can just do that kind of chit chat. So if you're chit chatting with me for short periods, someone comes in, let's say, a sibling from out of town or something, and you have that kind of superficial conversation. Oh, mom seems fine. Oh God, mom is not fine. But on the surface, I can do that. That's a skill that's retained. And that's a positive thing. We still have that. Music, poetry, prayer, rhythm, all on that side. And those are gifts that we can connect through to the very end. I might not be able to speak a full sentence, so my vocabulary's gone, my speech production's gone. But if you sing me a song, especially from my childhood, very, very, high school years or even very young childhood, I might be able to sing all the words. It's like, oh my goodness, how can she sing all that, but she can't put a sentence together? Different part of the brain. And it's really, really wonderful, really, really wonderful. Rhythmic movements too. I can grossly follow you. I can keep a rhythm that can help me with walking when I'm having trouble walking. Instead of just telling me to walk, pick your feet up, Mom. Why not march? Oh, when the saints go marching in. Yeah, we're walking in place. Go marching in. Now we start to move. Yeah, that's a part of the brain that remains. We can use that and connect with it. And it's way more fun than telling me the same thing over and over again. So those are 3 gifts: social chit chat, music, poetry and prayer, and rhythmic movements. But there's a 4th one that maybe not so much a gift, but it's still a communication tool. So I want to take the stigma off of forbidden words, which are swear words of all kinds, curses, sex talk, racial slurs, all those things that when they come out of our sainted mother's mouth, like, oh, like, God, don't talk. I didn't even know she knew those words. Well, we all know those words. We've all heard those words. We know how powerful those words are, and they get filed away in a different part of our brain. And we use our impulse control not to say them. How many of you have thought a curse word, but not said it? That's because you have an intact frontal lobe and you have impulse control. But in those situations when something sudden happens, you almost get hit by another car, you drop a can on your foot, right? What comes out of your mouth? Full sentences? Curse words, the most. And it's not because you're a bad person. They are powerful words, and they help kind of in those cases, they've been shown to help like dissipate the pain and things like that. But think again, the left side of the brain, the vocabulary, I'm losing vocabulary. I'm losing my speech production. I can't say, excuse me, I don't like what you're doing right now. Could you please stop? Or can you please wait a second? I can't do that anymore. I get more and more anxious. And the words I have left, right side, the forbidden words. So I'll tell you to get out of my room, right? I might call you a name, right? And it's shocking and it hurts. It hurts. But take a deep breath, time out. Take a deep breath. They're just words, and they're being used because I have something to communicate and I've lost another way to communicate. Take a step back, try and take the power out of those words. Because, when we were little and we said them the first time, you got lickings, and so it's put them aside. What's behind that? I didn't like being touched where you're touching me, which is, we have to do a lot of personal care. I didn't like, it's too bright in here, or whatever. There's something behind it, but to try and step back from the initial shock. So that's a big change. So yeah, this is hearing. Like I said, I'm not hard of hearing. I'm hard of comprehension. It's a different part of the brain that's affected. And we do love to talk. So going back to those three sensory inputs: visual, verbal, touch. The order matters. We want to give visual cues, show them. Then verbal cues, tell them, only then touch. Show, tell, touch. Especially in these times, during the pandemic, for all of us, out, especially whether even if for at home, we're out and about, we're wearing our masks, professionals wearing masks all the time. The verbal part becomes even harder. It's hard to hear. You don't get the lip reading that they might be doing, also getting more expression from your face. So this was important before the pandemic, but it's even more important now. For everything you're trying to tell me or ask me with words, show me too. So let's stand up, right? Up. Are you hungry? Would you like something to eat? Something to eat? Thirsty? Yeah, help me out. give me a visual cue, right? It's not going to make me think any less of you because you're using your hands, and some people are real hand talkers and some not. But learning some of these can really just help enhance what you're trying to get across with words. So showing first, being able to see, and then the touch. Have you had the experience of, like coming by and touching the shoulder of someone that you want to come talk to, and they jump? So none of us like to be touched unexpectedly. So this is where the positive physical approach is going to come in. We're going to have them see us first, show ourselves first before we get in. So we often, well-meaning, and it's a normal, natural habit. It worked before dementia. We will often just talk or just touch. Hey, whew, big hug. Oh, give me a second. My brain is processing things slower. Show me. Take a moment. Then call my name. And then we can get connected physically. So slowing that process down and being aware of that is a huge step. So this is where that cheat sheet that is in the chat will come in. And don't worry, you don't have to write this down. It's on the cheat sheet, and we're going to review all these steps. And it seems very strange that there's nine bullet points of how to get connected and shake somebody's hand and move in. But each of these steps, and it takes practice, kind of like learning a new dance. And it's because it's designed specifically to make sure that they see before hearing, before touching. So nobody's taken by surprise, and they have a chance to get connected with us and to process our presence and to hear and understand as much as what we're saying as possible and as much as what we're showing them as possible. So relationship first. That's what this positive physical approach is all about, is making that relationship. So the first step in the positive physical approach is the space. We're going to be coming from the front, because remember, if you have a vision, I tell this Hale staff, because they're not wearing these goggles. By looking at someone, you don't know what their peripheral loss is. But as a kind of a common denominator, if you think of them having a vision something like this, and if you look around and you kind of see, where would you have to stand for them to see you? Smack dab in front, right? And if you're standing too close, put your hand in front of that. It's like, oh, you can't see anything. You want to be, this is a human way our brains work. When people are 6 feet or more away, and we're very attuned to this 6 feet thing during this pandemic, that is a safe distance, not just for COVID, but that's a distance where someone can't touch you. I feel comfortable. And once they start coming into arm's length, that's personal space. That's starts to feel like within touching range. That's personal space. And then when you're really close enough to touch, 1 arm's length away, that's intimate space. So we get connected visually in public space, right? Personal space, it's hard to talk at public space, right? Too loud. Hey, we get in closer, 6 feet to an arm's length. That's where we can talk. That's the second input, right? And then the third, touch, that's when we're the closest. So again, we're moving in with respect and delicately, not starting off at intimate space, but start from public space. Give me a chance to feel comfortable with you. So stopping at the edge of public space first. Giving the high sign. This looks weird, I know. And when you stand there, it's like, why am I standing with my hand like this? This is one of the steps that in working with people feels the weirdest at first, aside from kind of having to go slowly. It's when we were used to waving like this, right? Or up here, waving around. pause for a moment and picture a bullseye painted on your hand here. Because remember what I said, we want to get connected visually first. I want them to see me. And I'm putting my hand here near my face because that's what I want them to see. So I'm putting this hand up, and if I'm moving it, it's like a moving target. So I'm watching this thing move around. I want them to see just this hand, which is connected to this smiling face here. And I'm going to use very simple words. I've stopped at the edge of personal space, and I say, hi, Kay. And I'm given a chance. I'm looking friendly. And my brain takes a while to cue in. And then I see Kay sees me smiling, and then I can move in so I can see her. And I'm going to stick my hand out to shake hands. I know in these times we're not touching quite as much as we used to, but this is shaking hands is a way we're trained from very young to get connected. Someone puts their hand out, you shake, shake, and then after a couple squeezes, you let go. Pump, pump, let go. We without hesitation, even little kids will do this. We train them, shake uncle's hand. So by doing this, reaching out my hand, I'm telling the person in front of me, the person who's living with dementia, that I want to get close to and get connected. Maybe I need to help them do something next, like go to the bathroom, or I just want to get connected for social reasons. I'm asking permission to touch. So I reach out my hand, and you will see them reach it back out, even later in the disease. Now I'm going to move in slowly, 1 second a step. Remember, 1 second's 1,000, 2, 1,000. It feels like an eternity, but it really helps everybody stay calm. And as soon as we come in, so we were like this, right, face to face, I'm going to be turning to the side, because who stands in front when they're that close to you? Authority figures, teachers, parents when they're upset, someone who's trying to intimidate you in some way, bully you. So it's very unsettling. We don't like it. And when someone's that close, they're trying to tell us something, even if it's something pleasant, like time for ice cream, it's hard to process because our brains do not like someone that close right in front of us. It's too much. These pictures are like that. So you want to shift to the side. Even when I have vision like this, I am able to see you. It's within that small view, and you're not blocking their visual view field. They don't feel trapped that way. And the hand under hand. So I went from shaking hand and then rotated to hand under hand. You'll see a video of that. So sometimes it's confused, like, wait, whose hand's supposed to be on top? My hand, their hand? Their hand is on top. They're in control. Take this other hand. I'm here to help and support. I'm here to help and support you. So you are the underneath hand. You are the helper and supporter. But you're not arm wrestling. You're not bossing them around. So we've gone into hand under hand, and you can see it provides protection for you and them. Okay, and it gives you a sense of connection. So here is 2 of Holly Kwike's staff practicing, and you can see it looks like a practice of a dance that people aren't doing very well quite yet. Come in, shake, go to the side. They did the switch. And they mugged it up for the camera. So we actually practice. So at this moment in time, think to yourself as we're going through these steps, who in your life you can think a little bit, I'll ask you later, who in your life might be a friendly and forgiving guinea pig for you to practice this with. Don't think, for professionals, don't think of your most challenging person that you know who's living with dementia. To practice with someone who is going to allow you to fumble, like, wait, what did Dorothy say? Where's my hand supposed to be? Am I on the wrong? I forgot. It's okay. It takes practice. So someone who's willing to do this with you, maybe it's someone who you want to learn it along with you, so you can both do it. But it's hard to learn new things. You feel embarrassed. It's okay. But try to think of someone that you can practice this with, because you will need to practice. If they're seated, you're going to need to get down to eye level. If you think about, if you're seated in a chair right now and you put these on, and most people who are living with dementia, a little older, maybe not such good posture, think of what their visual field is. If you're standing up, won't be able to see you. So being down, I can get eye to eye contact. If you can't squat down like that last picture, get a chair, have a little stool, get that ready, pull a chair up next to it. So here's one of our nurses getting ready to connect with a man who doesn't have very much language, but getting connected using friendly statements when she gets in.
Hi, I'm Betty.
There, he reached back out.
Good to see you. How are
He's
you
pulling up
this
closer.
morning? Okay? You doing okay? Okay, good.
Yeah. So she reached out. And by reaching out, she says, "May I touch you?" And what was his response? "Yes, you may." And then they touched. And she got close enough for them to have that visual connection. And she used verbal cues for everything that she was asking him. Yeah, and whether he was mirroring her or answering with his body, either way, they had a pleasant moment. Notice she put her hand on the shoulder. That's another thing we'll talk about in a minute, kind of closing the circuit. So if you have this hand, and you have this hand on the shoulder, very comforting. Human beings like palm pressure, and they like pressure on the joints here, like this. So once you did all those 9 steps, you worked so hard to get all the way in. The next step is not, here's your meds. I welcome you in. I asked you, may I touch you? You said yes. I'm all the way in. Keep that relationship going. Say, hi, I'm Dorothy, and you are, say something. I love the color of your dress. I love, I'm so glad to see you. I was looking for you. Just something that is true and that just makes us as human beings happy to be around each other. You can notice something about them, noticing things around them. And when your next step, you're going to be giving the message, like you want them to, even if your end goal is to take them to the bathroom, the first step to going anywhere is standing up. Use the visual cues as you communicate with them. Okay. So this slide here, and these are things that there's a lot of on the cheat sheet on these slides. There's a lot of choices to try. So, I was looking for you. I know you're really good at getting the dining room looking nice. Could I ask your help on something? Asking people for help is a huge. If you always say, "Can you help me set the table?" No, I don't want to. It's like I can't remember which side where this is supposed to go. Can you help me? Help me. And people like to be helpful, and it gives sense of purpose. And that's a way to get someone up and going. So help is a really asking for help is a really good way to do it. If you ask yes, no questions, you really have to be prepared for no. So short and simple, keeping it simple, breaking it into steps. So in that sense, standing up is the first step. Come with me is the next step. If someone is later in the disease, asking a more abstract, open-ended question will be really, really hard, but breaking it into little steps, one little step at a time can get you where you're going. Okay, this is me. You can tell these are pre-pandemic videos because we're not wearing masks, but the steps are the same. So you can see this lady is kind of snoozing, and I want to get connected with her, and she's sitting down. So now I'm noticing something about her. We're wearing the same color. Yeah, so that just short, I got connected, I visually, verbally, then touch. We got connected relationship wise. We're happy to see each other. We're sharing the same color clothing today by chance. From here is where I might say, I baked some cookies. Would you be my taste tester? Oh, sure. By the way, I will always say yes to that. If you ask me, I'll go anywhere with you for that. Okay, here's another one, short video. So this lady, so you see the previous one, she was a little bit snoozing, and this lady is busy, so she is, if you think about those goggles again, put those here, she is doing a task. So go ahead and put those goggles on for yourself if you want. If you're looking down at something, if you think about it, you're doing a task, let's say it's eating or you're sorting these beads. Are you able to see what's around, like this man who wants to come talk to you? No, right? This is called task vision. If I look up, that's social vision. So I'm seeing everything around, but am I able to see the task that's on the table? Like my lunch or these beads? I'll forget all about that. So when I social vision, I'll forget what the task is. If I'm task visioning, I have trouble connecting socially. So what he's going to be asking her to do is shift gears. So again, starting with vision first, then auditory, and only then touch. Watch how he gets connected.
Hi, Lily. Hi.
She has to adjust her glasses. Okay.
My goodness, I didn't know you come here.
No, I haven't been for a while.
No wonder.
I just wanted to come by and say hi.
Oh, so nice of you. I haven't seen you for ages.
I know, I miss you. I'm glad to see you.
Yeah, are you still helping around here?
I try to.
Oh, I come now and then.
Thank you so much. It's so good to see you.
Good to see you.
Okay, take care.
Yeah, take care
Bye-bye.
now.
Okay. Yeah. So one thing I like about this video is you see the time it takes for her to look up. She adjusts her glasses like, wait, who is this? He's holding out his hand. And as that's all happening is when she starts to put it together. This person is friendly. She might not know who he is, but what kind of conversation is she really, really good at? Social chit chat. I haven't seen you in a while. Oh, I'm so glad to see that. That kind of friendly conversation is really meaningful, and we can enjoy that together. So this is a close-up of the hand under hand. So this is, if you take your own hands, I know it's a little different than holding somebody else's hand here, but put your hands together like this and kind of give your palm to palm pressure squeeze. Squeeze really hard as you can. You can't really squeeze too much, can you? It's hard to hurt yourself this way. Or even if someone else if you have this hold, squeezing, as opposed to this way, right? Or this way here, it's safe for both of us. But this palm to palm pressure, as human beings, we love it. It's very, very comforting. And it helps us, like I said, we're here to help and support, right? So remember when I was saying, if we feel something we like, we keep doing it. If we don't like it, we pull away. This is something we like. Also, if we feel something, we look. So that kind of pumping, so kind of give your hands like a little pump, that helps us keep them directed to us. So let's say I do all the steps, I get connected, and we're sitting there holding hands and the person is kind of drifting off. If I give a little pump, that it draws their brain back to this connection. Look at my, what squeeze? Oh, you're here. Hey, when did you get here? Even though I've been here the whole time. Yeah, I just got here now. I'm so glad to see you. I'll have the same conversation again. It's okay. So pressure in the palm is calming. And also it protects aging, thin, fragile skin. So all of us on this webinar are different ages. And this is a very young staff member. This is more middle-aged staff member. And this is a resident's hand. So you can see the difference. We start to lose our subcutaneous fat. Our skin is thin and fragile. This is the hand of a resident who's getting close to the end of her life. And you can see how thin, of course, there's weight loss, but just you can see how papery the skin is. The slightest friction here the skin tears, bruising, and it's not from abuse. There's just not much to protect us like it was before. So just kind of having the hand under hand, this part of our palms doesn't get so thin. It doesn't look like this top part. So you're not going to get those kind of skin tears and bruising on the palms of the hand. Let me just make a little adjustment here to the lighting. Thank you. Okay. Okay, so we want to keep it simple in not long conversations about what's coming next. It's time for, let's go this way. And here's a visual. Here's your socks. Here's your shirt. And the last point on this one is, I think, the most important one: pausing, waiting, pausing, and slowing down, because we tend to talk really fast and it can be hard to catch up. So I want to just review the questions that we asked at the beginning. Human beings take in data 5 ways. That's absolutely true. The most powerful sensory input is visual data. And you definitely can accidentally be confrontational. And so starting off any relationship by confrontation, by just standing straight in front or being too close in front, you're starting off on the wrong foot. So that is true. And we don't realize it. We're not being bad people. We don't understand how they're perceiving it with us, especially with this change in vision. It's okay to touch somebody before they see you. No, it's a good way to get hit, honestly, or to startle someone. So once you get scared, how much data can you take in? You're worried, even when you realize, oh, no, I'm okay. It takes a little while to come down. So why get that amygdala up and that fear response up? If you can just come around to the front, take your time, make sure they see you, get connected so you don't startle them, because then you don't have to worry about bringing them back down. Yes, the field of active vision gets smaller and smaller as dementia progresses. And yes, palm to palm pressure is very comforting and soothing for human beings. So we want to build skill for this positive physical approach, our communication, hand under hand, and most of all, having an open and willing heart and head and hands. And we work all together. And that little picture of the hand, it almost looks like the champion thing, and it is. You want to try this and practice it. Just practice it. Think of any new skill you want to learn, whether it's a sport skill or a dance step or anything, even something as, some fine motor skill things, like the icing a cake or something like that. It takes practice, but it will come naturally after a while. You want to make a supportive connection, but once you do get connected, you want to validate their emotions, as when you get connected. Of course, it's wonderful to be happy, but we're not happy all the time. Sometimes we feel sad, and being able to be there for that person, connected again, even in those moments, to be able to reflect their words and to be genuinely, I'm sorry, can go a long way. I can't fix it, but I can be here for you. Together, we'll get through it together. So get connected visually, then verbally, then physically, then emotionally, and then if it's spiritually or as an individual, heart to heart, soul to soul. That's how we get through each moment, each day, and all the steps on this journey, which can be a really long one. These are some tips, some of them which you've seen before. I would like to focus on tip number 4 on this one, is asking for help. So in the short term, ask for help. Ask for someone to help you practice this. So I asked you to think about it. Now I'd like you to pick up your pen and write down somewhere who you want to ask, or maybe a couple people that you would like to ask to help you with this new skill to try out. And I will be sending links to videos and things too, so you'll be able to see that in the email after this webinar. So to give it a try, because you can't do this alone. Just like dementia caregiving, you can't do it alone either. You need help, and for learning this skill, you'll need help. Hand under hand will help you when words don't work well, when we want to need to be physically connected in order to get from place to place, to comfort, to guide them with movement. With walking with them, hand under hand is very, very helpful. But for all these things, when something is not working, stop, back off. Don't keep butting heads. Think it through and then reapproach. You can try something a little different. Maybe someone else needs to step in for a minute. But the more you push, the more another person pushes back. So be willing to stop and back off is a really good skill to develop. Remember, people living with dementia are doing the best they can. Like I said, especially today's webinar, this is very much like a dance, but you can do it. You can learn this and you can make a difference. And it's going to make a big difference for yourself too. Because once you're able to do this technique, in addition to getting connected and all the reasons I told you that it was helpful, it helps you be able to see the person in the moment. I mean, really see them and see how they're reacting. So you'll be able to see how much do they really look like they want to reach out for your hand? Do they look like they're just, you can start to be more aware of their emotion. A lot of times we know what we want. I have to change that brief because I know it's wet, or I know you just had a BM accident. And I that's so much in my head or in my nostrils that I don't see you because I just want to get this done. So being able to take that time to get connected as two human beings and build that relationship, keep that agenda in your back pocket, and then we'll get there. We'll get to the bathroom, but person first, relationship first. Okay, I want to make sure we have enough time for the questions. So questions, please put the questions in the Q&A, and Kay is going to come back on. I want to thank everyone for coming to the workshop today. We do have them all recorded. So at the Holly Quike website, and also in 2020, I did a series for Catholic Charities, and those are on the Catholic Charities website. We'll be sending you those links in the